So welcome again to Milan Climbing Expo at Urban Wall. We're going on with the competitions. We're here with Luca Canon Zardini, a very strong former athlete in for the Italian streaming, and I'll be translating what they're saying on YouTube. My name is Nicoletta, and okay, I think it's we've had great fun so far. And now we'll have even more fun because dual semifinals are always very interesting. It's a formula that was invented at the Rockmaster of Arco and at a memorial for Daniel Lattisi. They tried the dual formula, which is a mix between speed and difficulty. So for females, the difficulty is about 7C plus, for men 8A. So it's not extreme difficulties, but the point is that, you know, the quicker wins. And so, you know, that really means we have two components: difficulty, speed, and direct contact between the two climbers, which in real climbing hardly ever occurs, of course. In this case, we have a direct duel between two athletes, and this can also have psychologic side. So let's look at the couplings for the semi-finals. We have Stefano Ghisolfi versus Stefano Carnati, Marcello Bombardi versus Ku Haibin, and then George Verhoeven versus Giorgio Tomatis. So it's a mix of Italians, Chinese. Jurgen, of course, is from the Netherlands. And for females, Laura Rogoa versus Maya Bidmar, then Mina Markovic will duel with Sara Caramella, and then Zhang Vietong and Mathilde Becerra. So this is the moment for viewing the routes, 6 minutes to understand, you know, what the best beta is. And while in Arco the two routes are perfectly the same, here the profile of the wall does not enable for the two, do not allow for the two routes to be exactly the same. So in this case, the athletes will have a double duel. There will be a duel on two routes, really. There will be a double duel, but you'll understand more. Okay, so you can see the athletes studying the wall, 6 minutes available for each route. And so it will be a kind of duel, but you'll understand more from, you know, actually watching it. So let's hear some details from the jury.
Gianni, il tecnico dei cinesi, osserva 5 minuti in questo.
So 4 minutes to the end of the viewing of the route. You can see the athletes really concentrated. So we have 2 routes, 8A and 7C plus, but you have to consider the speed component and the fact that, you know, you feel the approaching athlete, and so, you know, that puts psychological pressure. Of course, these routes have no shaking out points or resting points, so they have to start and get to the top as fast as possible. The routes have been set in such a way as to have very dynamic moves. There will be some dynos for men, and it's a very overhanging route. So, of course, speed will be important too. Clips will be important too. When it comes to duel, clipping is fundamental because you really take a long time in clipping, and that also stops your climbing, especially when you know, want to go, when maybe the other athlete you're dueling with is, you know, reaching you. It really becomes, you know, a very important element. Okay, here we have Federica. And the speaker is saying, you know, the duels may be easier for non-experienced climbers to understand. Of course, the routes are not easy, and the athletes have to reach the top in the shortest time possible. In this case, the routes are not the same, as we've already said, which means the right route is different from the left route, and that's why they switch routes afterwards, and, you know, so they actually climb 2 in the end. So, being impossible to make 2 exactly identical routes, you know, the 2-route solution was found.
You out. I mean, yeah, you have to focus on your own route, but you know that there's someone climbing next to you, and that, yeah, you're really climbing against this person in this kind of competition because it's a knockout.
Finito il tempo, stop to look at the
viewing time is
Finito
over.
il tempo per gli atleti.
The athletes are going back in ISO.
So yeah, you will have to make a decision as an athlete between getting the highest you can get and still climbing fast at the same time. That's not easy at all, and yeah, you will see your opponent advancing next to you in a different route. Of course, it's very similar, but not exactly the same. So I expect the climbers to be faster in their second attempt or in the second route they climb.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay, you might have recognized Anak Verhoeven. She's part of the commentary team in the gym. So we start with Laura Ogora versus Maya Widmer. Luca, do you have a favorite? It won't be easy. I think tiny Laura might make it. Maya is probably a little slower in climbing, but clearly here the determination and, you know, to climb quickly without making mistakes become essential. So if foot slips or hand slips, the result is compromised. So there will be interviews here and there. Federica, do you have a favorite climber? I'm a patriot, so I would say Italian Laura Ogora.
Okay, don't hesitate to encourage. Come on, come on.
Okay, they've started.
Partite. Sono davvero vicinissime, questa fase, quindi
They're very close at this stage. So, as I say, you have to start very quick, and it's often the case even at Rockmaster in Arco. The moment of clipping is very awkward, very important. You have to do it quickly without losing time. I see Laura is trying to recover some meters. They're climbing in parallel, although the two routes are different, and Maya is in advantage. It's a really good stage at which Maya is showing all her experience, and it's impressive to see how quick the athletes can be on a route which is not an easy route at all. So you should never interrupt your rhythm, although you're forced to do so by the clippings. So Maya has more experience, definitely, and she has an advantage there. And, you know, her experience, her capabilities, I would say. She's now got a fairly good margin. Laura's very determined, though. She never gives up. Of course, Maya got to the top, and the total time will be calculated.
Well, yeah, this is so nice to watch. And, like, don't think that it's easy to climb those routes on side and as fast as you can. It's really tricky, and you don't want to take too many risks, but you also just have to, because it's lead speed, such an exciting discipline actually in climbing.
Allora ragazze, le affido a voi per sentire le loro opinioni. Prego, nella sala.
Okay, so I think the interviews are taking place right now. Off you go. And we have Laura and we have Maya ready to be interviewed. Laura, what about this super quick dual route? My gosh, it's a formula I don't often do, so I didn't expect it to be so hard. I mean, not because the route is difficult, but because you have to be so precise and quick, and the clipping, you know, has to be done quickly, which I'm not good at usually.
The route was nice with big juts. I enjoyed it, of course.
Luca, subito sulla parete maschile.
And now we have Stefano Ghisolfi and Stefano Carnati. It's an Italian, all-Italian duel now. They're really very strong. And here it's lovely to see how, you know, move after move, they're fighting every centimeter. Maybe Stefano has stopped clipping, but now he's reached again, Stefano. And, you know, Stefano's move looks like a bit more difficult, but I see Stefano Carnati has a great advantage right now. Now Stefano is ahead. You see, oftentimes they just do campus moves. It's really thrilling because they're so close, and this is really great to watch. And what a show. They look like they, you know, top the route practically simultaneously, although maybe Stefano you know, touched a few seconds before. So spectacular to watch though. And now we'll hear from the boys what to do, where the holds are, and it's pretty amazing. Once you try, you find this great humanity and this great skills these blind climbers have in trusting you completely and learning to follow you completing. And so in the morning I watched the workshop, and you know, where people got blindfolded and you know, had a guide, and so it was really great. And climbing, as far as we know, is the only sport where, you know, the events for normal athletes take place at the same time as events for paraclimbers. You have World Cups for, you know, non-disabled people and World Cups for disabled people in the same venues. So we hope, you know, sports climbing will continue, you know, this good habit. And what about the Paralympic Games? Objectively, paraclimbing is probably not mature enough to go to the Olympic Games, because we know it's the first Olympic Games, and we know how difficult it was to get to them in sports climber, the competition formats. Lots of, you know, words are being written and said. Now, you know, the paraclimbing still has no room, also because in paraclimbing you have many different categories. But let's see in Tokyo 2020 the first step. Well, I know there won't be paraclimbing in the first Tokyo Olympic Games, but we're trying to be there for the next Olympic Games. Okay, so Pietro, thank you very much, and all the best, of course. And thanks to the event. Do you like the duel? I like the duel because it's so exciting.
le gare di lead siano un po' lente, la formula duello sarebbe abbastanza per me.
Davvero spettacolare. Grazie Pietro. Mi raggiunge Luca Zardini, abbiamo ancora qualche minuto prima di vedere la seconda manche di queste semifinali. Ti chiedo ancora, Luca, davvero spettacolare questa parte a duello, perché credo che sia anche la più immediatamente intellegibile per i tanti che come questi 2 giorni si sono avvicinati per la prima volta all'Urban Wall, attratti dal richiamo della Milano Climbing Expo. Ecco, vedere gli atleti duellare gomito a gomito in parete è davvero emozionante e interessante.
Sì, è sicuramente spettacolare, soprattutto per il pubblico, per i neofiti magari dell'arrampicata che non la masticano, eccolo così, tutti i giorni. Si capisce.
The first 2 to go are Laura Ogura and Maya Vidmar, and off they go. In the first round, Maya Vidmar won, and Laura now is trying to, seems to be trying hard to go a bit quicker. She's certainly determined, although of course Maya has such great experience.
Luca.
Yes, I see Laura's fighting, as always. She doesn't want to lose. She's trying to gain some advantage because she knows her dual rival is a very talented and experienced climber, and Tiny Laura is really, really doing her best to win this competition. She knows, but she topped the route and she's very happy about that. But Maya knows she has to get to the top, which she does now, because the two routes will be summed. So one victory for each. It will be time, of course, that makes a difference. Laura, I saw you doing a very long reach. Is that correct? In which part of the route? Because they were mostly long reaches, for me at least. Yeah, maybe because I was going quicker, so I didn't think much. I didn't have that time to think. And so, well done you. Yes, this route, the second route I did, is probably a little easier. And so it was probably easier to go fast. And now Stefano Ghisolfi and Stefano Carnati, an all-Italian competition. For Italians, of course, the crowd is going wild because it's two Stefanos and two Italians dueling. And also in the first round they came so close, and they still are. So they're really dueling, putting up a great show, of course, for the audience. Yeah, it looks like, one gets an advantage and then the other recovers.
Managing their speed, still being careful not to go too fast and make a little mistake, but their speed is really incredible. They're getting into their rhythm.
Luca.
So hard to tell who's going to be fast because they're both really strong at the moment.
Ha preso un leggero vantaggio Stefano Ghisolfi a destra e penso che ce la farà portare a termine lui come vincitore in questo duello, che è stato un duello fantastico.
Okay, Stefano, both hands on the top, and Stefano Carnati now on the top.
Amazing, great to see. And remember that this is an outside route. It only climbs like adding a left on the right one, never the other one. So it's still outstanding. They've never been able to practice a route before, so it's really amazing to watch.
Federica, andiamo subito a sentire i nostri amici.
So when they get breathing again, we'll hear from the two duelists, so to speak. Of course, they know each other so well. They sometimes train together, although Stefano Carnati is younger. Stefano, the clipping is awkward, isn't it? Yeah. They waste time. The two routes are different, so having climbed one, you expect something on the other, but there are two different routes. And Stefano Ghisolfi, what about you? Well, we came so close. He forced me to, go even quicker. So I was watching him, And in the end, that's psychologically bad, because you should focus on your route, but you need to get that extra adrenaline and go a little faster. Okay, so go and have a rest while Sara Caramella and Mina Markovic have switched routes now. In the first round, Mina made a mistake and Sara got to the top. Mina, unfortunately, halfway through the route, made a mistake and fell. So for her, it will be very important now to, gain an advantage. And Sara should stay calm and climb at her pace, because she has an advantage in the first round. She's risked a bit, Sara Caramella I'm talking about. But of course, Mina Markovic is not going to give up, and showing all her talent. And she's not known to be a fast climber, but she can be.
Mina sta dando veramente tutto, Luca?
Yeah, Sara is a bit hesitating now. She's tired. She's had a whole day of qualifiers and climbing, and so, but she's got to give it all, because she can't go wrong here. Meanwhile, Mina is at the top. Great, well done, Mina. But Mina is a great climber, and she's a legend in herself. Sara's suffering, which is normal, but she has to get to the top in some way, and she does. So she's human.
That's kind of you, yeah.
Thank you. Adesso una battuta anche da Sara.
And now, Sara, what about? I'm out of breath. I couldn't go fast. We had a short break, so I was so pumped from the previous round, and the route on the left is harder. And had a moment of real difficulty. Okay, meanwhile, ready for the start, we have Marcello Bombardi and Haibin Q. A very spectacular first round. Off they go. The game is very open, the duel is between the two, because Marcello had a final sprint that sort of gave him an advantage, and he topped just before the Chinese. Of course, the Chinese in the interview complained about the clippings. He said clipping in a duel he's not used to is really pretty awkward and stops your flow, your climbing flow. And in fact we see they're pretty close, practically identical. But you can see the difficulties the Chinese athlete has in clipping. Of course, Haibin Q is not that used to duels, as he himself stated. They don't train in duel in China, at least not him. And Marcello gets to the top first. but Haibin is follow suit. So, round of applause, the super 2 rounds in the duel between Marcello Bombardi and Haibin Q.
So beautiful to watch, really. Seeing them fight, being such strong climbers, they're pumped for sure. Pretty sure it's physically hard, even though you can tell.
Allora, andiamo subito a sentire i nostri protagonisti mentre stanno già arrivando Zhang Yuetong e
Okay, so now, meanwhile we have Zhang Yuetong and Mathilde Becerra for the last female round, the second one. In the first round, the Chinese athletes took the victory, but it's not a complete victory. Marcello. Yeah, it's weird because you've climbed a route and you think the route is the same, but it isn't, you see, so.
A big move. That's super good.
Thank you.
Grazie, grazie ai nostri protagonisti, complimenti.
Oh, thank you to the interviewee, and thank you to Anak Verhoeven. As you might have recognized her voice, it's and her face. It's Anak doing the interviews, and here the Chinese athlete seems to be at a great advantage. She climbs such easily. She seems not to feel the pump of the route. And she's again solid, which enables her to climb at her rhythm and easily beat her direct opponent. Yeah, we'll see what happens at the Olympics, but to imagine this national, the Chinese national at Tokyo 2020, you know, she stopped meanwhile, will be very interesting. Asian athletes in general will invest a lot in the Olympic format for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, and certainly they're giving already a good demonstration. Mathilde Becerra got to her top, so she deserves a round of applause. And the two athletes will be interviewed in a short time, while I already see approaching Jörg Verhoeven and Giorgio Tomatis for the last round of the men.
Really fast. Exactly, yeah. Okay, well done.
And here we are with the two George. They would be George in English, both of them. Jörg has won the first round of the duel. Of course, he also was in many duels at the Rock Masters, so he knows. Giorgio Tomatis has never practiced a duel, but he said he was excited at the idea of, you know, doing the dual experience, and Jörg really shows great training, although, you know, he's probably trained hard for the Milan Climbing Expo 2019. And we'll see in the final, because the final changes everything. So, you know, it's been a long day and the athletes must be tired, and will face the finals after a whole day. Of course, Jörg, meanwhile, has topped the route, as we would expect. But, you know, let's support Giorgio, who got to the top now.
Veramente tutti i protagonisti.
So,
e allora adesso magari aspettiamo, andiamo a sentire intanto
a most interesting. So the two Georges, as we could call them.
It was about the same as the other time. Up to halfway, it's very nice, and then you just want to vomit.
All right, well, hard climbing.
Giorgio, beh, innanzitutto complimenti, ecco, guardiamo gli amici che ci salutano da casa.
Now we have younger Giorgio and unexperienced Giorgio, but dueling with Jörg must have been a thrilling experience for you. Yes, as I said before, I found the first route a little more difficult. I was more tired, although it didn't make a difference, because I didn't stand a chance against Jörg. But while you were on the duel, did you think of stealing some tricks from Jörg? No, I didn't focus on Jörg. I had already, you know, enough with my climbing, especially in the second route, because I just couldn't really hold the, you know, the holds well, because I was so pumped and a little tired, I must admit. Okay, thank you. Anyway, remember that at 9:30 we have lead and boulder finals. We have Gabriele Yufei Pan, Jakob Schubert and Matteo Manzoni in the finals. For the females, Katja Kaditz, Sasha Gayo, Jessica Piltz and Yang Rong. So we expect a good show. In a while we'll know the finalists. But our next appointment is 9:30. And so the finalists will have to go to ISO. While for boulder is a flash competition, so they don't need any ISO. They have 4 minutes for each boulder, but they can watch each other, so it is not necessary to send them to ISO.
Hanno 4 minuti a testa e c'è l'isolamento.
Perfetto, praticamente tutto il contrario di quello che avevamo detto, ma va bene lo stesso. Quindi 4 minuti a testa, c'è l'isolamento e c'è anche una pausa adesso per noi, ci ritroviamo alle 21:30. Milano Climbing Expo, arrivano le finali, ma l'amore e la passione per l'arrampicata non finiscono mai. Ci ritroviamo fra poco, grazie a tutti.